Welcome to F101 with Friends, your pit stop for all things Formula One. Whether you're here for the stats, the memes, or just figuring out what a chicane is, we've got you covered. Buckle up, because the fun starts right now. Hi everyone, my name is Nisha, a newbie F1 girlie who is desperate to make more friends so that I can talk about this sport all the time. Each week, a new guest will join me on this journey, from seasoned F1 fans to other curious newcomers, and we will explore what it is about this million-dollar sport at gravity-defying speeds that we just can't stop watching. We'll try to break it all down in a way that's fun, relatable, and hopefully try to explain some of the tech talk. We are heading to Austin, Texas, the United States Grand Prix at the Circuit of the Americas. Think big Texan energy, cowboy hats, loud crowds, and that iconic uphill charge into turn 1, where cars climb like they've decided to enter a rodeo. I am so thrilled to have Aditi back on the pod because she was with us for our very first track episode on Melbourne, and she's a returning guest now because she has seen the race in Austin in person. So, fun fact, Aditi is a huge Max Verstappen fan and is probably doing championship maths every weekend because there is still a chance that he might win this whole thing. Aditi, welcome back to the show.
Thanks a lot. I am super excited to be back. What did you say it was? A returning guest. I feel very privileged.
Yes.
I feel very nice. and the race that you've picked up is perfect. COTA was amazing.
Yes.
Can't wait to talk all about it.
We will get there. But first, let's talk about Singapore. I know it's been 2 weeks, but what were your lowlights and what were your highlights?
I think it's been 2 weeks. Do not remember much of it because I think much of the overtakes were not covered. During the coverage. I mean, it was supposed to be a really fun race. It was a fun race, but I think we didn't get to see a lot of it. So yes. Carlos's overtakes, didn't get to see those.
Yep. Just to set some context to what Aditi is saying, essentially the F1 TV direction that we saw was minimal. Like we know that Carlos Sainz on like the last few laps overtook, 400 cars and came into the points, right? From somewhere in the back. But they didn't show all of that. Instead, they decided to show Rebecca Donaldson, his partner.
Pretty, but then
beautiful, sure. However,
I would have liked to say that when he would have overtook someone. I'm like, yes, that was a pretty overtake too.
We spend a lot of money to see cars go vroom vroom, not lady just standing there. But yeah, we missed Carlos Sainz's overtakes. We missed the Alonso Hamilton fight.
Oh yes, and towards the end, like they were fighting it hard towards the. I think it was the last lap, and we saw none of that.
None of it. Yeah. We had no idea. Even honestly, like I don't think they were showing it even within the commentator's box.
Yeah.
Because you can see Crofty saying, I'm looking at the timing sheet and I know something is happening between Alonso and Hamilton, but I don't know what it is.
It's like those are like the old rivals who are just like, they still think they're in a championship like battle and they're like, no, these points matter. It is for the 7th and, was it the 6th or 7th or the 7th and 8th? No,
6th and 7th place or something.
That is not what it is. In my head, we are still fighting each other. Oh
yes.
God, that was like a low light or a highlight. I mean, a mix of both, right?
Yeah. The thing is though, what you just spoke about, that competitor energy, right? That even for P7 and P8, they're fighting so hard.
Yeah.
I think that's missing in some of in Lando and Oscar and
100%,
a little bit.
100%, right? I mean, like, do you really want it? Okay, you want it. Let's go fight it out. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Max stan. I really love him. I am working on the, permutations and as to how he could win it. But how have you let him come back? Like, come on, you guys have it in the bag. How is there a chance for him to win it?
Exactly. And the funny thing is, like, people have been hating on Max for a very long time, okay? A lot of people have been hating on Max, right? Because he's aggressive and people don't like that. Okay. And then, of course, 2021 happened and everyone is very divided on that. But And also 2023 when he absolutely dominated, made the sport boring in quotes, right?
Yeah.
But now, sitting here in 2025, I'm actively rooting for Max Verstappen.
It would
because
just
he
be
wants
fun.
it.
Yeah,
He wants to win.
He wants to win it, and he's got the spirit. He's got the right spirit. He's got the right fight. If he gets the best car in the 6 races we've got, then it's gonna be fun. Like, he will have it. Like, let them. He's just gonna let them fight and just overtake both of them and just have a laugh in his car. And I'm down for it. I am absolutely down for it.
I think McLaren has stopped developing this car.
Yeah,
right? Why should they now?
yeah.
They won the Constructors' Championship.
Yeah.
Right? But which means that car, it's going to plateau now. It's not going to have incremental pace and speed or whatever in the next couple of races. And the next couple of races are a bit strange races, right? You have Mexico, which is, somewhere high up. The altitude makes a lot of difference. You have Brazil, where it might rain. You have Vegas, which is a street track. You never know. Also, one of the lowlights for me for Singapore was the whole papaya rules nonsense.
Oh my God.
Right?
Yeah.
Lando sort of crashed into Oscar in lap 1, and Oscar had to be literally had to beg for the place back, which was so weird.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't fault Oscar or Lando in that. I think it was pure racing. It was aggressive. It was great. The thing that pissed me off is McLaren have made it, the things that we were calling fair racing have basically made it like boys, you have to play nice all the time. To the point where we've lost racing.
Yeah. They don't let them. I mean, they say they're letting them race, but they're not really letting them race. I mean, I feel like they actually have a favorite among the two, and they are favoring the particular person. And I think the PR game was really messed up by the end of the race. So they're favoring that particular person. Everything is about him.
It's Lando. Just say it.
I didn't want to get into trouble. We've got Lando supporters here, and they're gonna come at us. I'm just saying they're just supporting one person, which is unfair. Because come on, the guy is not even in the lead right now. It's the other guy that you need to support. Come on, do you not want to win the Drivers' Championship?
Don't even. I'm so mad at this right now. But yes, it is. I feel like because of all of this nonsense that they have done, that it's come up to this stage, they won the World Constructors' Championship and no one spoke about it. They only spoke about papaya rules. You left Oscar when you were doing the celebrations. Oscar switched off the radio when Zach was speaking. I mean, who cares? Right?
At the end of the day, they won it, and that's it.
But yeah, so I feel like in the next couple of races, Oscar's going to come in and be like, this is his villain story. He's going to say, take your papaya rolls, make a fruit salad. I am not part of this anymore.
I don't like papaya anymore.
I'm going to drive straight into Lando.
Either I win or I take you out. That's it. That works for Max fans very well. Yes,
exactly.
Win or take him out. We let Max win then.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, those I'm excited to see how the next couple of races
it's gonna be fun. Yep.
Pan out. Yeah. And fun thing that I learned, apparently this part of the season is called the flyaway season, because they're essentially flying to all of the
different parts,
places. Yeah. And
it's all at different locations. It's not like Europe anymore, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
They've got US, Mexico, Brazil, and then
Vegas,
US again, and then they fly to the Gulf.
Qatar and yeah.
Qatar.
And also the last 3 races come on consecutive weekends. So Vegas,
right.
Qatar, Abu Dhabi happens on consecutive weekends. Man,
that's hectic, man.
Yeah, I can't imagine what the rest forget the drivers. They sleep at the Hilton, they get the best of whatever they need. They fly private jets, whatever. I'm just thinking of the crew that follows them.
Oh my God, yeah.
Just flying on economy flights, trying to get to these places.
Jet lagged at all times. I mean, how does the jet lag even work then? Do you cancel out one jet lag with another by moving from? How does it work?
Oh my god, I have no idea. But I know like Vegas is in the middle of the night, right?
Yeah.
They end the race and everything by like 4 o'clock.
Oh, right.
So maybe they fly to Qatar right after and things get into place. I don't know. It still sounds very hectic to
It
me.
sounds very hectic, yeah.
But you know what else is crazy? It is the race in the United States. We are heading to Austin. And the US has hosted the US Grand Prix about 53 times in 10 different venues like Watkins Glen, Long Beach, Indianapolis, etc. But the current track seems to be the one that finally caught the attention of the fans and drivers alike. The USGP has actually been held since 1908 and it was called the American Grand Prix. It was officially part of the F1 calendar in 1961. We've been racing at COTA, or Circuit of the Americas, only since 2012. Drivers will do 56 laps around this 5.513 kilometer circuit, which has 20 corners and 2 DRS zones. The lap record is a 136.169. It's held by Charles Leclerc in 2019. And I have a sneaky feeling that it's going to be broken this year.
By Max? Do you think it's going to be Max?
Maybe. I don't know. I have hopes in Max. Let's see. There's a lot of straight line in COTA, so you never know.
I hope it's Max. All right. The Circuit of the Americas, or COTA for short, sits just outside Austin, Texas, in a place called Travis County, and is the first purpose-built Formula One track in the United States. This year promises to be even more exciting because it is a sprint weekend, which means the rookies have one free practice session to familiarize themselves with the track.
So why do the drivers love this track so much? Well, because this is like a Frankenstein's monster of F1's greatest hits, right? Designed, of course, by Herman Tilke, this track is actually a tribute to some of the other tracks that he's built. So you've got turns 3 to 6, which is inspired by Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel from Silverstone. Those fast, swooping direction changes that make you dizzy, even when you're watching on board. And there's a lot more, and we will talk about each of these when we do the track map.
Oh, and the observation tower. You can't miss it. 77 meters tall is this red and white skeletal structure that looks like a futuristic oil rig. From the top, you can see the entire circuit winding through the Texas Hill, plus the Austin skyline in the distance. It's also where photographers camp out for that perfect overhead shot of the cars diving into turn 1.
And because it's Austin, it's never just racing, it is a show. Every year, the teams get in on that cowboy theme. So you've got drivers awkwardly wearing cowboy hats, boots, and sometimes even like holding lassos and just walking around. It's like you're watching some of your European friends at a fancy dress party that they just didn't quite understand. But we love the effort that the teams put in. The only person who's always looked right at home was Daniel Ricciardo. One of the races he arrived on track on a horse. He's also apparently in Austin this year. He's selling Enchante merch for the GP weekend. So if anyone feels like spending 3,000 rupees on a cap, and if you find yourself in Austin, please go and check that out.
And there's a moment I love, and I've seen many reels of this lap. Charles Leclerc's 2022 practice session lap. The sun was setting over turn 1 and it hit that golden hour where everything looked drenched in orange light. The way his car glowed, it's one of the most cinematic F1 moments. This lap is usually mixed with Max's stormy lap in Brazil last year to the tune of Skyfall by Adele. The thing is,
beautiful.
You have to watch it. The thing is, the lighting in Austin changes constantly because of the timing and how open and hilly the circuit is. So the drivers actually struggle to pick their visor tint. Too dark and they can't see the shadows in Sector 3. Too light and the glare from the Texas sun just blinds you out on the main straight.
Yep. So, Aditi, since you've been there, you've seen a picture of what the track looks like. How would you describe it?
I think the easiest way to describe it, and in the most American way, the most American U-Haul way. No, how do you say that? It looks
Yeehaw.
Like yeah, that. It looks like a musket. You know, one of those long barrel guns.
That is exactly what it looks like. I have to 100% agree. So the start finish is actually the butt end of the gun. Which ends at turn 1. It flows into the trigger at turn 2. And use your imagination a bit here. Turns 3 to 10 are the bottom of the barrel. But imagine that it's a very wavy and curvy gun. Turn 10 is the muzzle where the bullets come out of, and turn 11 is the tip of the bayonet. So I'm talking proper like 1700 before independence musket with a musket gun, right? 11 and 12 is a straight down on the top of the barrel, and 12 to 19 is a W-shaped lock and hammer, riding all the way back to turn 20, which meets the butt of the gun again. So let's do a sector breakdown. Sector 1, this is where everything fires up, literally. We launch from the grid onto the main straight, climbing 41 meters uphill into turn 1 or Big Red, which is one of the steepest ascents in Formula 1. This was inspired by Eau Rouge and Radion in Spa. It's like driving up a 12-story building before slamming the brakes for a sharp, blind left-hander. This corner is wild. Drivers can't actually see the apex until they're about halfway through it. It's also inspired by Turn 4 at India's very own Budh International Circuit. It is the heaviest braking zone on the circuit, and because the track fans out at the top, it is also chaos on lap 1. So you see cars going 6 wide, elbows out. As you crest the hill and swing left, the car dives downhill into turn 2, or the trigger of our musket. It's a fast downhill ride that sets the rhythm for what's next. A set of fast sweeping corners through turns 3, 4, 5 and 6 that mimic the Maggots-Beckett's chapel sequence at Silverstone. The track snakes left, right, in a rhythm that demands precision and confidence. Get the line wrong and you are toast by turn 6. The aerodynamic load is massive here. This is where cars show off their high-speed balance. Drivers will be feathering the throttle, keeping the front end biting just enough.
Sector 2. We are now running along the bottom of the musket barrel, curvy and unpredictable before it fires straight through the bayonet. Turn 7 kicks things off, a sharp left that marks the end of the Silverstone-style sweepers. Drivers shift down, plant the throttle, and then blast through turns 8 and 9. A fast, kinked section with minor elevation changes similar to the Senna S in Interlagos, Brazil. Then comes turn 10, the muzzle of our gun. A downhill left-hander that's deceptively tricky. It looks simple, but the car gets light over the crest, and locking the front left wheel here is super common. The entry is blind and the exit drops away as you brake. One of those moments where gravity messes with your braking point. From here, the car fires straight into turn 11, the tip of the bayonet. A tight uphill left-hander that requires precision. This is a classic hairpin braking zone. You're decelerating from nearly 300 kilometers per hour down to under 80 kilometers per hour. Miss it and you'll end up on the runoff staring at the Texas horizon. But nail it and you're rewarded with the long back straight, the musket's barrel. The stretch between turns 11 and 12 is 1.1 kilometers long, one of the longest straights in F1, where drivers hit 330 kilometers per hour with DRS wide open, similar to Shanghai Circuit. You can feel the slipstream battles brewing here. It's the prime overtaking zone. And while the straight looks smooth, crosswinds often gust across the open landscape, catching drivers out. The trick is braking late but not too late, because at the end of the straight waits turn 12, a heavy left-hand corner modeled after Hockenheim's stadium section.
Sector 3. This is the lock and hammer of the musket, the part that kick back when you fire. It's complex, twisty, and full of traps for the unwary. So turn 13 to 15 form a slow technical complex that feels straight out of Hockenheim, with a rhythm that alternates between medium and tight corners. It's also similar to the quick turns at Bahrain Circuit. The cars dance on the brakes here, and this section absolutely punishes understeer. Then comes turn 16 to 18, one of the coolest parts of the lap. It's a triple right-hander inspired by Istanbul Park's turn 8. You can take it flat or nearly flat, balancing G-forces that hit almost 4.5 G while you're trying not to shred your left front tire. Turn 19 is a fast left, easy to overshoot, and it's where we've seen plenty of track limit violations. So you'll often see this corner light up on the timing screens with deleted laps during qualifying. And finally, turn 20, which is a 90 degree that spits you back onto the start-finish straight. It's a deceptively simple corner, but the camber changes slightly mid-turn and you need traction coming out, especially since this is the final braking zone before the DRS activation point for the next lap. From there, it's full throttle back to the start-finish line, right to the butt of the gun, ready to cock, load and fire another lap. So, Aditi, what are your podium predictions for Austin? And I'm talking about race, not sprint.
Not sprint. Okay. So race, I think Max is going to win it. And I do not see McLaren on the podium because clearly that's how. I mean, we don't need them to be there. There's no championship to be won. Who drives championship? So Max is winning it, and I think is going to be George. And to be realistic, I think it's going to be Oscar. So I'm saying Max, Oscar, and George, because we clearly don't like a particular papaya.
One papaya is a bit rotten. No, so sad. Okay, I know a bunch of Lando fans who've already been hating on me for like many episodes now.
We didn't say who. We never said who. We just
Come on.
We don't like one particular papaya.
You are answering like Max at the race when they were like, oh, who slowed you down, Max? And he was like, not Oscar.
Not Oscar. So we don't like one papaya. And no, that is not Oscar.
Yeah. So I think that Oscar is going to drive straight into Lando. Both of them are going to be taken out.
Exactly.
And it's going to be Max, George, and Charles.
Max, George, and Charles. Yeah. Charles won in 23. No, Charles was... Correct. Oh, that we need to get into soon. How Charles almost won it but didn't win it.
Yes, I know. But so let's talk a little bit about the history of the race. If you think that the US Grand Prix is just about cowboy hats and country music, well, buckle up. This race has been on a century-long road trip. The story of Formula One in America actually begins way back in 1908, long before F1 was called F1. Right? It was the American Grand Prix and it was held on public roads in Savannah, Georgia. So picture dusty streets, hay bales for barriers, and cars that looked more like rockets with bicycle wheels. It was wild, chaotic, and sometimes downright dangerous, but it captured people's imaginations.
Over the next few decades, America flirted with Grand Prix racing in different places. Long Island, Milwaukee, Riverside, each trying to give European-style racing a US twist. But it wasn't until Watkins Glen in upstate New York came along in 1961 that Formula One found something close to a proper American home. Watkins Glens became iconic. The autumn backdrop, the friendly crowds, and the parties in the Glen Club that every driver loved. It was the American race for 2 decades. But by the early 1980s, safety standards couldn't keep up, and the aging circuit faded from the calendar.
Then came F1's wandering era. So we had races at Long Beach, Detroit, Dallas, Phoenix. Yes, parking lot street circuits, as F1 was trying to find its perfect American match. Long Beach was glamorous but expensive. Detroit was bumpy and tight. Dallas melted the tires in 40 degrees heat. Wow. And Phoenix, well, even the locals didn't show up because it clashed with the NBA game. By 1991, F1 packed its bags and said, America, maybe we need a break.
In 2000, it came roaring back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, using a unique mix of the oval and an infield circuit. It started strong, huge crowds, patriotic anthems, a true American spectacle, until 2005 happened. The infamous tire fiasco. 7 teams running Michelin tires withdrew from the race after safety concerns, leaving only 6 cars on the grid. Fans booed, tickets were thrown on track. It was a PR disaster. And that was it. By 2007, the US Grand Prix disappeared again.
By the way, if you want more on that tire incident, you should listen to the jargon section of our Bahrain episode with Sanjay. There's a lot of fun facts and scandals in there. But going back to the US, enter Austin, Texas. In the late 2000s, a group of investors pitched a brand new purpose-built circuit that could finally give F1 a proper home in America. Bernie Eccleston, ever the showman, loved the idea of Texas. Big personalities, big money, and big crowds. Construction began in 2010, but not without drama. There were lawsuits, funding issues, and at one point, Bernie even threatened to pull the plug. The world genuinely wasn't sure if the track would be finished in time. But somehow, like a good American comeback story, the Circuit of the Americas opened just weeks before the first race in 2012.
And what a debut it was. Lewis Hamilton took the win in that inaugural race, beating Sebastian Vettel in what would become one of their defining early duels. COTA immediately earned a reputation for being a proper driver's circuit. Elevation changes, technical corners, and that monster turn one. A lot of drivers who were skeptical about new tracks were pleasantly surprised thanks to the many old school circuit inspirations. Since then, Austin's become F1's loudest love letter to the US. The crowds are massive, over 400,000 fans across the weekend.
And this race has been contracted till 2026, but I doubt it's going anywhere. The FOM wants to expand into US markets. I mean, that's why we have 3 races there this year and the next. So I'm sure the crowds in Austin can expect another extension announced next year. So let's take a little road trip through time because the USGP has given us everything. Heartbreak, history, and hilarious post-race drama. So in 1977, we are at the United States Grand Prix West because even back then, America had 2 GPs in the year. And on that day at Long Beach, California, the stars aligned for Mario Andretti, the Italian-born Pennsylvania race driver who was basically America's racing sweetheart. He started second, hunted down Niki Lauda's Ferrari, and pulled off a clean overtake that had the crowd absolutely roaring. It was an American winning the USGP in front of home fans. It was a pure goosebumps moment. And I think we'll be happy to see his team back on this track next year with Cadillac.
Fast forward to Dallas, Texas in 1984. It was 40 degrees in the shade. The tarmac was breaking apart. The cars were literally overheating mid-race. Nigel Mansell, then with Lotus, was running into the points when his gearbox gave up right before the finish line. So what does he do? He gets out, tries to push his F1 car across the line in that unbearable Texas heat, collapses on the track, and still finishes 6th. Absolute gladiator stuff. He only remembers getting down to push his car and then waking up at the hospital.
Man, Mansell has so many of these incidents.
It's crazy.
And like, honestly, F1 racing in the 80s was crazy.
How did
like
they do
safety
it?
is optional.
Safety is optional. You can
I have no idea.
You can take a ride back with anybody sitting on the F1 car. Was it 80s? Right, that was 80s.
Yes, it was. And now we jump to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in 2002. Ferrari had the dominant car, Schumacher leading Barrichello. But on the last lap, Schumacher decided to slow down so that they can cross the line together. Except Rubens didn't get the memo about the exact distance. So he just pressed the throttle just a touch more and beat Schumacher by 0.011 seconds. Ferrari still won 1-2, but it was awkward. It was one of the closest finishes in F1 history. And to this day, fans still argue if Rubens Barrichello did it on purpose.
Wow, that's a good story. I think he must have.
know,
Do you think he did it on purpose? Or was it just...
I think so. Can you imagine, like, you have a chance to beat Michael Schumacher in a
You're
Ferrari. Why
going
would
to
you
take
not
it.
do it?
Like, even and say, oh, I didn't realize it. It was just a joke.
Yeah, exactly.
If you thought the 2005 Michelin fiasco was the low point, the next year was pure carnage. At the start of the 2006 US Grand Prix, all the tension from the tire drama came flooding back, and the field went 4 wide into turn 1. Next thing you know, there's carbon fiber everywhere. 8 cars taken out within seconds. Kimi, Juan Pablo Montoya, Nick Heidfeld, Christian Klein. It looked like a demolition derby. Michael Schumacher kept it clean, took the win, and quietly bowed out of Indy as if nothing happened.
Can you imagine if that happened now? Just like the top 8 cars just gone.
Oh, wow.
Which means whoever is starting P9 is okay. So
Colapinto gets a point. Colapinto gets a point.
Colapinto gets a point. Yeah, exactly.
Who else has not got a point? Everybody gets a point then.
I want to say Yuki, but I don't want to cry.
Yuki's not got a point. No, he's got a point.
No, he has. He has.
Yeah.
But still.
So I think at
he'll start.
I think at this point only Colapinto has not got a point, right? I think he's at 0.
Yeah, I mean, would you want to count Jack Doohan? I don't know.
No, probably not. He's not in the racing anymore. I mean,
I guess.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're getting distracted by what ifs. But what actually happened in Austin 2012? After 5 long years with no US race, F1 returned to America at COTA. Everything felt fresh. The uphill turn 1, the Texas crowds, the skyline. The winner was, of course, Lewis Hamilton, which you had mentioned earlier. But this was his final race win for McLaren before he moved to Mercedes. He was hunting down Sebastian Vettel in those final laps like a lion stalking his prey and passing him down the back straight to take that victory.
2015 gave us peak Mercedes soap opera. Hamilton and Rosberg were locked in the tense title rivalry. Rain had turned Austin into a mud bath, and the race itself was insane. Multiple safety cars, overtakes everywhere. In the end, Hamilton took the win and clinched his third world championship. Cue the podium room moment. Casually tosses Rosberg a Mercedes cap like, "Here, champ." And Rosberg throws it right back at him. I think P3 was Vettel, and I urge you to look up this video because he looks so awkward.
He really does.
The drama that was there in that room, and Vettel is just a spectator, but then he's awkward at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
I would be like popcorn, dude. Here is a moment, let me just watch.
And the thing is, that race is also like, I think Max was P4 in that race.
Yeah.
Because it was raining and Max was being Max.
Correct.
So he was almost there to like overtake Vettel, but he missed out in the last. I think Red Bull called for one of the called for one of the pit stops at the wrong time, and he missed out on that. But can you imagine if it was this divorced couple, Nico Rosberg, Lewis Hamilton, and poor baby Max Verstappen sitting there in that group? He would be like, "Oh my God, I'd much rather go and see my parents fight."
Trauma.
Seriously. And finally, there's one that melted every F1 fan's heart. Kimi Räikkönen, the Iceman himself, ended a 113 race win drought by taking victory at COTA in 2018. It was his last ever for Ferrari. It was a strategic masterpiece, holding off Verstappen and Hamilton in the last laps. No nonsense, no radio drama, just classic Kimi. Minimal words, maximum results.
Beautiful.
2024 was also exciting and emotional. We were getting to the peak of the Max versus Lando title fight, and the McLaren versus Ferrari battle was also heating up. We also had a sprint weekend, won by Max, and everyone thought that they could predict what would happen next. But nah. Leclerc absolutely owned the race. He started fourth, but early on pounced through turn 1 to take the lead. He built a solid gap and never looked back, defending well when challenged. Sainz was the perfect wingman in the best way possible. He finished second, about 8.5 seconds behind Leclerc, and that gave Ferrari a dominant 1-2 at Austin, their first 1-2 at COTA. Together, they made it look clean and powerful. Teamwork, strong pace, and no big errors, which is a big win for Ferrari.
They did it all right. Everything worked well that time.
For once.
For once. Verstappen had a tougher time than usual, even though he had just won the sprint. He finished third, benefiting from a late stewards decision which penalized Lando Norris. Perez had a quieter day. He finished seventh, no big heroics, but points, and kept his head above water in a tricky weekend.
Norris was the heartbreak story. He started strong in P1, got into a tight fight with Verstappen late, executed an overtake for third, but then he got penalized for going off track and gaining an advantage. That dropped him to fourth in the official result. He had the pace, the fight, the energy, just lost it on technicalities. He basically pulled off the same move that Verstappen had done on him a few races back, but Max wasn't penalized for that. I think this was the turning point to shed away that good boy racer version of himself, and it was going into more heated territory until, of course, they went to Brazil. Piastri, on the other hand, had a solid but unspectacular race. He ended fifth, close behind Norris. He was efficient, clean. Overall, it was a good points haul for McLaren.
Hamilton's day was rough. Sixth in the sprint and in the race. He spun off at turn 18 early in the race and ended up stuck in the gravel. Did not finish. Russell managed to salvage something. He finished sixth, picking up decent points in a weekend where Mercedes was under pressure.
Nico Hulkenberg in Haas grabbed 8th, one of the better lower midfield results. Alpine got a nice boost. I think Esteban Ocon got the fastest lap, but he didn't break into the top results, so he didn't get the point. Liam Lawson scored 2 points, finishing P9 on his first weekend back on the grid for Visa Cash App Racing Bulls. And Franco Colapinto was an impressive P10 for Williams. Others were more mixed, battling in midfield. There were some penalties, like Pierre Gasly got a 5-second penalty, but it didn't really change the finishing position. Now, COTA is a track that basically has a little bit of every track that we've been to, right? High-speed straights, tricky corners, and those crazy elevation changes that make it feel like a roller coaster ride. Now, this year's race weekend is shaping up to be a hot one, and it's Texas. So it's going to be dry, dusty, and downright punishing on those tires. So what do teams do to prepare for a track like this? Well, COTA is all about balance. You've got that long back straight where you need the speed, but you've also got those fast flowing corners through turns 3 to 6, the esses, where the downforce is everything. So teams tend to bring a medium to high downforce setup. Suspension wise, they'll be working to handle all the bumps and elevation changes, especially the massive climb into turn 1. So a slightly softer suspension setup helps the car stick to the ground. And because COTA is known for being bumpy, especially after a few years of wear and tear, we also go for some of the MotoGP in this particular track. The teams are going to be playing with the ride height and tire pressures to make sure that the cars don't bottom out during the high speed sections.
Talking about tires, Pirelli is mostly bringing the C3, C4 and C5 compounds. One step softer than the last year's lineup. So expect a bit more grip, but also way more degradation.
Yep.
We also have a sprint race, so teams have a limited set and they will try to save their softs for the main qualifying session. I will say that the cars this year seem to be managing the tires very well. Sainz could almost do 50 laps. So maybe we are looking at a one-stop year as well. And don't forget, COTA's pit lane is long, like really long. So every pit stop costs around 23 to 25 seconds. That means teams will try to minimize stops if possible.
And then there's the weather. Austin in October sounds nice until you remember it is still Texas.
Hot.
So, yes, it's going to be hot, dry and windy, which means tires will overheat faster. Cooling systems will be pushed to their absolute limits. The heat also makes tire pressures super tricky. So if you get them wrong, you'll blister your tires halfway through the stint. So expect a lot of fine tuning from the pit wall throughout the weekend as teams chase that perfect window. And now we come to the best part where we talk to Aditi about her experience at Austin. So, Aditi, when did you go?
I think like the tires, the one thing I remember, clearly is the kind of tan that I've got there. Like none of the sunscreens have helped. Like no sunscreen is going to help you. You are going to get tanned and you're going to come back looking like, what happened? Where were you? The sun is harsh, and at the times where you're at the track, you're going to be, you get exposed to it, and the tan is terrible. Let me tell you that. So I went with my sister in 2023, and Max won. That was the glorious year of 2023 when he won 19 races that year.
Yes, correct.
It was boring for some. Some would call it boring. Some call it glorious. It was the best times. So Max won, and it was great.
Honestly, I know a lot of people say that it's so boring that he won every race like 30 seconds ahead of everyone. Right. Honestly, like, have you seen domination like that before?
Yeah, Mercedes, right? They were doing it that time.
Exactly. And like I also, they might do it starting next year. You never know. They might get the engines right in the new regs. So it's fine. At least he wasn't, honestly, like when Lewis used to win by 30 seconds or whatever.
Yeah.
The celebrations, he used to pretend like, oh my God, yes, I'm the best, whatever. Max just gets up and he's like, look, I did it.
Yeah, like let's get on with it. Yeah, I have a flight to let's get on with
Next. Oh, I can't tell if it's 2023, it was a sprint race.
Okay.
Sprint weekend.
I think because like what was the vibe like? I think I can tell you the vibe was just like it was crowded and a lot of Mexican fans. So a lot of support for Sergio Perez. Like he was in Red Bull that time, so he got a lot of support for that. We had a lot of Max fans, a lot of Ferrari fans. So McLaren were still like under the radar at that time. Like 2023, they were still under the radar. I should have bought merch at that time, but I did not.
I know, right? No, but we could have never known, honestly. Like, that was the time where they were slowly building up.
Yeah.
And like, slowly coming back up, and like none of us would have known that time that car was a donkey. So,
yeah.
Yes.
Who knew? Who knew there would be two donkeys? I mean, I'm not completing that sentence, but who knew?
Yeah, exactly.
But the observation tower. So that observation tower was fun. We watched a couple of laps from there. You're waiting to
it's
for
free? Like anyone can go there?
Yeah, people can go there. So you just queue up, you take a lift up, and then you can hang around there when the laps are going on. And so we had a very nice view of the track from there. So that was like a fun part. The vibe was fun. What else did I
but like, was it different?
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead. No.
Like I think the most exciting thing is like this is the first race I saw it like in person. So the excitement was, it was it was a lot. Like I was so excited for this race. As soon as my sister booked the tickets, I was like, you're planning for it the entire year round. You book the tickets, and then you got like an entire 8-10 months of just waiting to get to the US and go to the race. So that was a lot of build up, a lot of excitement, and then you get to the race, and you're like, everything is just different than what you see on TV. Everything is massive, like getting to your seats, getting to see the track. I was sitting, where we were seated was right in front of the VCARB, the pits, right? So you had Daniel Ricciardo and Yuki at that time. Daniel and Ricciardo, Danny and Yuki. So you're like, you're clicking photos there. You're trying to see if you can spot them, and then you see the cars come out. And right opposite the pits is during the race. The engineers and everyone, they would stand with their boards which had the messages on that.
With the boards,
so we saw all of that, and that was like, that part you don't get to see on TV, right? You don't see those guys who are actually holding up like signs for the drivers. So that part was a lot of fun. And the turn one is so beautiful, with all cars racing up to the, it's like they're racing up to turn one, and it's the flag is there in the background. So that shot is amazing.
Yes.
So that was all about the race. I think that was a lot
clarification,
of fun.
it's a flag of Texas, not a US flag.
Not a flag of the US, but a flag of Texas. And but
did you meet anyone? Did you see anyone when you were there?
We saw a lot of like, we didn't get to do the pit walk. I think we missed that just because of the heat. Maybe it was a bit too much. So we tried to stay away from the heat because we were going to be there for the race. Saw a lot of TV presenters, so they really the crowd really cheers them on, and that they would acknowledge it, they would wave at us and click photos, and then then go back to their to the F1 presenting.
Nice.
That was fun. I saw, and I don't know how it was for you at Baku, like the shows, the music shows.
It's so good,
surprised.
right?
I was so surprised.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot going on the track that you don't realize during, because when you switch on the thing to watch it, they're not going to show you the experiences. Correct. They're just going to show you the race itself. But there's so much to do around. Like, they have all these challenges and just random performances, and it's pretty cool. So who was performing when you were there?
Queen. So Queen, Queen was amazing, and that was on one night, and then the other night was the Killers, and both of them were so cool. Like, it was at the end of a race where you've like sweated it out, you're tired, and then you walk to the area where they got the guys performing, and you're just like, wow, this is so much fun. Like, you're at a concert. You just walked from a F1 race to a concert right now. That experience is something. It's crazy. That was a lot of fun.
100% agree. It is quite exciting, and it's like, you just can't, I feel like at some point you can't keep up with all the things that needs to be done.
It gets tiring, and it gets like, you really need to be prepared with a lot of like the good shoes, a lot of water, sunscreen, which is not going to be useful, but you got to be prepared with all of that and just have a lot of fun. Like, it's a weekend long fun. I think my most memorable moment was it was a fangirl moment, because there's a podcaster called as Katie Fairman. She used to do, she used to talk a lot about F1. And during the 2021, I think when I started watching Netflix, I started listening to a lot of podcasts, trying to understand the game, understand how races work and the rules. And she has like a lot of insight and knowledge about that. Okay, so I'm a big fan. I used to listen to her a lot. So imagine this. Okay, we are at a bar. That's one of my recommendations too. I think it's called this Piano Bar in Austin. So we are on Thursday, after the practice sessions and I think sprint qualifying, we've gone to the bar, and we've got into the bar. We've not got a table because it's crowded as hell. We're standing at the side, we're just like enjoying the music. There's a guy with a piano. He's playing all the songs. He would take your requests. And so imagine that entire scenario. And I saw someone who looks like Katie, okay, and I'm like, wow, this lady looks exactly like her. I'm like, is that her? And I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna take a shot and ask. I'm like, excuse me, are you Katie? Are you Katie Fairman? She's like, yeah. I'm like, oh my god.
Oh,
I have just
cool.
Bumped into my favorite podcaster. And
oh man,
it was such a cute moment. And then he had a small talk. She's like, oh yeah, I am. I'm here with my friends. I am going to the race tomorrow. I will be there. And he had paddock pass and all of that. And she's like, oh my god, that is so nice. And I'm like, oh yeah, I listened to your podcast. I mean, I think I've heard all of them. I'm like, wow, you do still, it was a fangirl moment for me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It was like so out of the blue. I'm like, what are the odds of meeting somebody that, you've been listening to for like almost 2 years, and then you bump into her at a place like COTA. So you never know. You might just bump into one of your, one of the stars, and you're going to have like a beautiful moment.
Actually, I know a lot of because I follow 3-4 podcasts. F1 podcast, and I know most of them are having shows at Austin. I think they're getting a lot of sponsors want to do more promotion for US races.
Correct.
So so Austin is a much bigger party than most of the other races. I think from my understanding and just following all the races on social media so far, I have found that Singapore seems to be one of the bigger parties,
right?
Along with all three races in the US.
Nice.
Yeah. So, what are your tips and tricks to enjoy the Austin GP?
Get a parking slot. Okay. That would help a lot.
Yeah.
Because there's no metro connectivity to this place because it's on the outskirts. It's not like a city circuit, I would say. So there are buses, but then if you get a parking spot early, then you can just drive down there. It's a small walk from the parking to the main entrance, but I think that still helps. What else? Let me think. I would recommend a place called as Paper Boat for brunch. It's right in the city of Austin. There's a lot of fun things that you can do in Austin. We went paddle boating. We went at one of the lakes there. That was a lot of fun. The vibe of the city is just amazing. It feels like the party just goes on for a longer time. Downtown feels nice. So make a great weekend out of it.
Yeah. And also, I know you mentioned pack nice shoes, but one thing I noticed, in the race that I attended, you don't walk around as much, but you stand. You stand a lot,
yeah. Because as soon as the race starts, no one's sitting in those seats. We're just standing all the time. I mean, 2023 was it was slightly boring because the 30-second gap that Max was maintaining throughout the race really did not leave much chance for overtakes. But you do end up standing a lot for a longer period of time, yeah.
And you're queuing up, it's everything is just standing. That's what hurts your feet. It's not the walking, you will still do it on pure adrenaline because it's so exciting to be there. Also, I'm sure you would have noticed this. The thing that you miss out a lot on track or watching the race is when they say there's a gap between one driver and the other, like they mention the timing.
Yeah.
You don't realize it because they're showing you other stuff.
Correct.
But when you're there,
You
like
really...
it's actually, right?
You can actually feel the gap. Like, I'm like, okay,
Yes.
this Max is gone, but where is the driver behind him? You don't see him for exactly those 30 seconds, which seem longer in person. Whereas on TV, it sort of like cuts in and, you see the next driver because the camera shoots him. But in person, you're like, okay, where is he?
Yeah, that was very cool. Like for the race that I attended, it was like a 12-second gap between Max and George.
Yeah.
And like you can hear it, right? Like you can hear the car approaching.
Right.
And you can hear the and then like Anjali and I were just sitting and doing 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. And then exactly at 12 Mississippi, you hear the second
They are fast, right? You realize how fast they are.
Yes.
They're super fast.
Almost like cracked my neck the first practice session.
300
trying to keep up with my head.
I mean, you don't realize it, like they say 300 kilometers, but then you realize how fast they're going. It's like they're fast.
Very fast. Very, very fast. It's definitely a very cool experience. But would you go again to Austin?
100% go again. I love
Really?
the vibe of the city. I love it's nice. A lot of people, but it's a lot of like everyone's having so much fun there. I think it's like safe. The crowd is amazing. You get to have a lot of fun. You can just walk around, go to the observation deck, get into the pit lane, just absorb everything. I think that's what I enjoy the most. It's just like, just being there and absorbing the entire experience. Just being around an F1 track, there are even the little thing as the timing tower. That I never noticed how cool that is. Like in COTA, it's got a timing tower which has those numbers which are like ticking down.
Correct.
And I was like, that is so old
they have
school.
the old timey one. Oh, wow.
That was so cool. It's like, so you walk in and you're like on this little hill sort of a thing. There's like a hill, and then you're walking towards like the grandstand, and you can see the entire track. And then you can see the timing tower, and I was like, and then the sky is just lit up, and it's got this beautiful color. I was like, oh wow, this is beautiful. Like were so excited. Like even the first day, right? The practice on Thursday, you're just so excited to be there. Like you just want to see everything. Yeah. And by the time Sunday comes around, you're like, oh wow, this is like, you're like ready for the race.
I know. Did you feel sad when you were leaving, like when everything was done and you had to go back?
I really felt sad about it. I'm like, I wanted to go to to the podium and be a part of the crowd that is running towards that. But that was madness, and I'm like, okay. Yeah. I did pick up a piece of the rubber, and then I got it home and I kept it as a souvenir.
The marble, amazing.
So that was like a fun thing. Am I missing anything?
But nice. Oh no, that sounds amazing, dude. I think like everyone, if you're an F1 fan, definitely find out what is the closest one to you and go attend a race, because it's just absolutely amazing. But with that, we should wrap on the Austin Grand Prix. One last, Aditi, I know that you've already made your boldest prediction, but that was way ahead, like when we just started the season. Do you want to update? Like, what is your prediction for the rest of this season?
Max winning. That's it. That is the boldest prediction that I have. I have no idea how he is going to make it work. But if he does, then I know...
If anyone can do it,
it's Max. It's Max. It's definitely got to be Max winning.
Fingers crossed.
Do you have any other prediction?
No, honestly, for me, it's come down to either Oscar or Max for WDC. Yeah. But my prediction when I did my episode was that Yuki will have a seat next year. But that's feeling less and less likely.
I don't see that happening. I think they're going to soon announce the Hajar shift to Red Bull also. Yeah.
No, I mean, Hajar shift up to Red Bull is fine. Go ruin his career if that's what you want to do. But I figured they would keep Yuki in like Racing Bulls, no? Like
probably not.
Train the new person, Chuck Liam Lawson.
The other guy,
Arvind Lindblad.
What's his name?
Arvind
Arvind something is gonna.
Arvind Lindblad.
Yeah, I think he'll get a chance, which is great. Yeah, I mean,
which makes
sorry,
sense.
Yuki.
I know.
He might just open a Michelin star, make
I'm
more
hoping
money.
for that. Because my plan now is 2027 Suzuka GP,
Oh,
and I will go to
we gotta
Tokyo
go.
and eat.
I wanna
Yes.
go. Let's go.
Done.
Let's
This is yes.
Kevin, are you listening?
I'm convincing Anjali as well, who was on the Baku episode. Like,
Right.
she came with me to Baku.
Yeah.
So I'm convincing her as well.
Right.
You are my next target, and I will find others. Sanjay from the Bahrain episode is also a big fan, and he wouldn't mind traveling. So I'm gonna create an elite group of
Invitee only.
F1 fans. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so if you would like to be part of this group, DM
Please
us.
apply.
Yeah, please apply. We'll
it.
let you know. But listeners, don't go anywhere next, because next week we are going to one of the highest altitude racetracks in the calendar, and that's Mexico. And the only person who can do the honor is the biggest fan of Checo Perez, the Mexican Minister of Defense. Yes, it is Kevin. So, and to our amazing listeners, what do you think? Drop your hot takes in the comments, send us a message, or tag us in your wildest predictions. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and share F101 with friends, because this community is just getting started. If you have any queries, or you want to be a friend on the pod, or you want to be part of 2027 Suzuka GP, please reach out to me on Instagram. The link is in the description. Special shout out to Ashwati and Kevin, as per usual, who support the podcast and also my mental health. Thank you, Aditi, for coming back. I have been your host, Nisha, and we will see you all on the next episode of F101 with Friends.
Bye-bye. Let Max win.